ready by 10 o'clock. Most of you came late, so the delay is not coming from our end. We welcome you to the headquarters of the New Patriotic Party, and our indefatigable national organizer, as usual, will be presenting to us this morning. So without much ado, I humbly invite lawyer Henry Nanabuachi, aka Nanabi, the hardworking national organizer of New Patriotic Party, to engage us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother Kobia. Let me also acknowledge the presence of the Deputy General Secretary and also one of our brilliant young lawyers who is doing so well for us, Kwesi Butwe Esquire, and all national officers present. I acknowledge your presence. Good morning to you all. Before I start, let me also say that last week we invited all of you to cover the well-attended, the mammoth demonstration, Save the Judiciary demonstration. It was very, very successful, well-attended, well-organized. The message was loud, clear. We sent petitions to the judiciary, the legislature, which is parliament, and then to the presidency. You all saw how thousands, hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians registered their displeasure against the political attack on our democracy and then the judiciary. So we thank you very much for covering. And then hopefully you'll be hearing from us. We'll be announcing a series of events to take place. Once again, good morning, members of the media. Greetings to you all, well-meaning Ghanaians across the length and breadth of our beloved country. We thank you for honoring our invitation at such short notice. The New Patriotic Party, as a responsible political party, deems it necessary to speak out on critical matters in our democratic journey, not only to expose the truth behind the National Democratic Congress deceptive politics, but also to assure the people of Ghana that we remain committed to progress, unity, prosperity of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, today we are going to have a discussion on three important issues. First of all, we are aware that His Excellency the President outdoored the well-publicized code of conduct for his appointees. Flowing from that, we've had some incidences. We'll be discussing that. And that will be the Sammi Gyamfi Agrada scandal, and then also the A+ Attorney General scandal, and then other matters will also follow. Ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday, 10th May 2025, the National Communications Officer of the NDC, who is also the acting CEO of Gold Board, was seen in a widely circulated video doling out fresh United States dollars notes to a known controversial figure, Evangelist Patricia Odo, aka Nana Grada. The act, which has been condemned, and rightly so, by well-meaning Ghanaians and institutions, including international bodies and other CSOs, like the Transparency International, is a patent indiscretion which breaches several laws of the land, and more importantly, mocks and makes nonsensical the recently enacted code of conduct by President Mahama. Among the several laws breached by the National Communications Officer and the acting CEO of Gold Board are the Foreign Exchange Act, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and then also the Code of Conduct, which was outlawed by His Excellency the President just about a week ago, exactly a week ago. Among the several laws breached by Sammi Gyamfi are Section 3, 1, and 4 of the Foreign Exchange Act, Act 723, which prohibits a person engaging in the business of dealing in foreign exchange without a license issued under the Act. Dealing in foreign exchange under the Act includes the receipt or payment of foreign currency, which Sammi Gyamfi is seen to have been doing in the video. The law, in its letter and spirit, prohibits stacking of dollars as it maintains the Ghana cedi as the sole legal tender. The cedi is the sole legal tender. We don't have multiple legal tenders in Ghana. You would recall that the Bank of Ghana has, over the years, issued several notices cautioning that without an authorization from the Bank of Ghana, no person is permitted to advertise, price, pocket, receive, gift, make payment of goods and services in foreign exchange, including United States dollars. And this action by the Bank of Ghana is important because it helps in stabilizing our city. The penalty for such violation includes a fine or imprisonment up to 18 months. Exactly a week ago, President Mahama unveiled the code of conduct for his appointees, and the president is reported to have said that the code of conduct articulates the core values his administration expects from appointees. Please pay attention. The core values his administration expects from his appointees: integrity, honesty, impartiality, respect, decency, incorrigibility, competence, and professionalism. The president further stressed that all conduct must meet standards capable of withstanding closest public scrutiny. Section 1.2 of the code, Mr. Sammi Gyamfi is required to manage his personal affairs in a manner that withstands the closest public scrutiny. And under Section 1.3, he was to take responsible care to maintain the integrity and reputation of the office he holds. Unsurprisingly, Mr. Sammi Gyamfi, like an incorrigible child, has blatantly violated both obligations under the code, and the president must, in accordance with Section 6 of his pledge, at page 9 of the code, deal swiftly and decisively with Mr. Sammi Gyamfi. It's important. The president launched this code. As I mentioned earlier, it was well publicized. It received a lot of commendation from so many people. Now, a week or just less than a week, this happens where his own appointee is seen displaying opulence. We find ourselves in a very distressed situation. And yet, if you have an appointee who is doling out dollars, that is serious. And we call on the president. If the president is unable to act on this matter, then the code of conduct must be shredded. It's of no use. It's useless. If the president is unable to act on this matter, ladies and gentlemen, the irony of the present circumstance is that not only was Mr. Sammi Gyamfi a loud critic of Honorable Cecilia Dapa for some months ago, but he was equally very critical of her ladyship, Justice Tokuno, few weeks ago because the judicial service paid for tickets in dollars, although this was the required currency transaction in such matters and also well situated within the travel policy of the judicial service. We say without fear of contradiction that in the absence of Mr. Sammi Gyamfi providing direct evidence of the source of funding, thousands of United States dollars found in his car, seen in the video widely circulated on social media, these funds are proceeds of unlawful or criminal enterprise by Mr. Sammi Gyamfi. Section 1 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 1044, makes the possession, concealment, conversion, disguise, or transfer that is or forms part of an unlawful activity an offense punishable by a term of imprisonment or up to 10 years. Do not forget that this is the same section, the same provision Mr. Sammi Gyamfi, the same provision he used in criticizing Madame Cecilia Dapa. And he says that it was clear. This is the same provision. We call on the lawful establishment investigative agencies of state, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and the Criminal Investigation Department, CID of Ghana Police, to investigate the activities of Mr. Sammi Gyamfi in his short tenure as acting chief executive officer. And again, you have been told that all appointees, including ministers, they have not even received their salary since they had the appointment. All of them. That is the information we have. To investigate the activities of Mr. Sammi Gyamfi in a short tenure as acting chief executive officer of both PMMMC and the Ghana Gold Board. These bodies must search all his houses, probe any properties acquired in his stay so far in government, and if possible, prosecute him for failure to show the source of huge sums of money found in his possession, out of which he gleefully sprayed some around. And we all saw the video. We all saw the video and how he counted the dollars as if it was a counting machine, very, very fast. And afterwards, and if you saw where he even picked the money from, you could see that yes, you have a lot of it stacked in there. And then how he gleefully was counting the money to Madame Agrada, and then Madame Agrada also, out of insufficient spirit, grabbed all. Obviously, she saw that there were a lot of dollars stuck in there. So that is how come she could again grab all the dollars. And this is a serious matter. We note that section 55(2) of Act 1044 stipulates that in a trial for an offense under the Act, an accused person, in this case, Mr. Sammi Gyamfi, may be presumed to have unlawfully acquired a property if the accused person is in possession of a property which the accused person cannot account for and which is disproportionate to a known source of income of the accused person. Note that he has not taken any salary since his appointment. So clearly, the money he doled out obviously is disproportionate to his income. We also call on the president to immediately interdict Mr. Sammi Gyamfi as an acting chief executive officer of Ghana Gold Board, or at least he should interdict him pending the conduct of the investigation by the criminal investigative authorities of the state. We cannot but remember when huge sums of money, and this is the principle here, please let's pay attention. We cannot but remember that when huge sums of money was reported to have been stolen from the residence of Madame Cecilia Dapa, a woman who had worked in high places for over 40 years. Before the incident, had been NP since 2001, as well as a deputy minister and also a minister. And she is married to a well-known rich architect and a consultant, well-known, with nearly 60 years experience in the profession. She was made to resign. This principle is cardinal. Under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a similar issue happened. Madame Cecilia Dapa was made to resign immediately by the president. Investigations were duly conducted by the OSP against Madame Cecilia Dapa and her husband. After what the OSP described as 7 months of extensive investigation and 4 months of collaborative investigation, it concluded that their investigation did not establish any evidence of corruption, corruption-related offenses, or procurement breaches against the suspect. We require the same standard to be applied here. Same standard to be applied here. And let me also say that Mr. Sammi Gyamfi again is on record on several TV programs drawing the Madame Cecilia Dapa saga, and I quote him: "Once money is found in your custody and you cannot account for the money, and that money is disproportionate to your income, you shall be deemed to have committed the offense of money laundering." Madame Cecilia Dapa resigned during the whole brouhaha, as I said, and again we require the same principle to be applied. Again, on the matter of her leadership, Chief Justice Tokuno, in an interview with Asempa FM Okosisen, he said that the Chief Justice should be sacked for using state funds in dollars in her medium of exchange instead of the Ghana cedis, which is exactly the same act he engaged in last Saturday. Per his own assertions, then it means he must be sacked. That is exactly what he said. And these are principles. And this is his own sword. And he must be on his own sword. Even more ironical is the fact that Mr. Sammi Gyamfi presently heads the gold board. This is very important matter, and this is issue of governance, which is being touted by this government as being the backbone for the stabilization of the cedi through the maintenance of sufficient gold reserves. Do not forget that the establishment of the gold board, one of the arguments for the establishment of the gold board was to centralize all businesses, all dealings regarding gold, to stabilize the cedi. This argument was made widely. If Mr. Gyamfi, the CEO, who is responsible for maintaining sufficient reserves to support, to help, and to prevent the depreciation of the cedi, to stabilize the cedi, possesses dollars in his daily routine. And we say daily routine because when you go for a funeral 1 week and you have dollars packed in your car, then the indications are that that is your modus operandi in terms of spending. That is how you spend. That is the money you use. Because if you are just going for 1 week and you have tens of thousands of dollars in your car, Mr. Sammi Gyamfi again then clearly he has no confidence in our city. And if you are superintending over an institution which, as part of its mandate, is to help stabilize the city, that is the only legal tender, and I've already mentioned that. And if you have the head who superintends over this institution doling out dollars instead of the city, then it means that the person or the CEO, acting CEO, lacks confidence in the Ghanaian city. And that is key. And that is the more reason why we are of the view, the New Patriotic Party, and I speak for the party, we are of the view that if he is unable to stand firm, if he is unable to defend the city, if he is unable to protect the city, and he will rather be displaying dollars, then it means he cannot superintend over the same institution seeking to stabilize the city with gold reserves. But let me also state on record that under the gold purchasing program of the New Patriotic Party, our gold reserves as a country, which stood at 8.7 tons, for the last 40 to 50 years grew to about 30.53 tons as at the fourth quarter of 2024. This program is one of the major reasons why we are seeing the appreciation of the city. Again, yesterday, the minority in parliament also had a press conference where they also mentioned the allowances, the salaries of Mr. Sammi Gyamfi. Referencing the minority press conference yesterday, the state cannot be paying Mr. Gyamfi hefty salaries and allowances for him to be undermining the very currency which is at the heart of his mandate. The state provides the following for Mr. Gyamfi: a gross basic salary annually 1.5 million, subject to an annual review and upward adjustment of 15%. 1.5 million a year. Hold on, that is not the only amount. Hold on. Let's go step by step. Hold on. Clothing allowance of 15% of annual salary, payable once per annum by year end. So the 15 million I just mentioned, he is entitled to clothing allowance of 15% of his annual salary. So he's entitled to 15% of 1.5 million, which is supposed to be his clothing allowance. Hold on, travel with me, hold on. Provision of 2 security officers or 6,000 each officer as an equivalent. 1 gardener or 4,000 Ghana cedis as a cash equivalent. Full medical cover for him, his spouse, and up to 5 children. Provision of 2 cars with full maintenance and insurance. Fuel allocation of 1,005 liters of fuel monthly. Fuel allocation, do your own mathematics, 1,005 liters of fuel monthly for each official vehicle. The official vehicle may be sold to Mr. Gyamfi upon a contract expiration or termination per the company's asset disposal policy. 30 working days of paid vacation annually. 30 working days of paid vacation annually, exclusive of public holidays. So anywhere in the world, if he decides to go to Bahamas, if he decides to go to wherever, if he decides to go there, the state is responsible to pay fully all the expenses for this vacation. Airfare up to 10,000 US dollars upon proof of per diem of USD $2,000 a day. So if he travels for 30 days, it means he's going to receive $2,000 a day for 7 days, payable in advance for annual familiarization tour. Business class travel tickets for official duties and $2,000 per diem per day of travel. Annual performance bonus subject to set targets and in accordance with the company's bonus policy. An unspecified CEO related benefit shall be paid at the prevailing CEO's rate plus 20%. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. Somebody said me. Let me repeat. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. The annual salary is what? 1.5 million. It is palpable, unethical, and a complete betrayal of the public trust for Mr. Sammi Gyamfi to receive all these benefits on the back of helping maintaining a steady currency, yet fail to have any iota of confidence in the Ghana cedi to the extent of using United States dollars as his currency of daily use. Ladies and gentlemen, it may have escaped many observers of this unfortunate incident, but not only, and this is an important aspect, not only was Mr. Sammi Gyamfi giving out United States dollars without restraint, but Mr. Gyamfi also engaged in patent opulence on ostentation of just after 120 days in government. On the day in question, Mr. Gyamfi was being driven in a 2025 full spec Range Rover autobiography valued at $350,000. Fresh, it was fresh Range Rover autobiography, fresh, tear rubber, fully spec autobiography, Range Rover, 2025 model, $350,000. The question that should engage the minds of well-meaning Ghanaians and how Mr. Sammi Gyamfi can afford all these things under 120 days of being in government, and if they are gifts, who are these persons gifting him, and what relationship do they have to his work as CEO? If within 120 days in office, appointees of Mr. Mahama have become culpable of such opulence and ostentation, then the years ahead will be indeed a telling story. Already, there is a loud cloud of corruption hanging around President Mahama's appointee. Following the indictment of Dr. Ayeni, his Attorney General, as involved in corrupt activities, Article 88 of the Constitution is very clear. And I'll come back again to Sammy. But just about some few weeks ago, the Attorney General was accused of being a thief and being a corrupt person. In his defense, he said that A Plus is saying so because he went for some monies from a certain businessman called Dr. Sledge. And that is why A Plus is saying so. Now, A Plus comes back, says that no, that is not what I'm referring to. I am referring to the 500,000 Ghana cedis. He's specific. He has mentioned the amount. I am referring to the 500,000 Ghana cedis you went for. And the reason for this money was to go and bribe the appointment committee of parliament. because you were appearing before the appointment committee. Now, he goes on to say that he is a stupid fool and he will reset his mind. Again, when the Attorney General attempted to respond, he says that A plus should not go there. And if A plus wants us to play in the mud, in the dirt, he is prepared. He can dirty himself. He can play in the mud. Because where he comes from, they have been playing in the mud. So as for mud, he's not afraid of mud. Who says we want our Attorney General to be playing in the mud? Who? Who said, and you see, that is why I brought this constitution. In fact, the only minister with an elaborate mandate captured in the constitution is the Attorney General. Article 88 is clear. And indulge me. There shall be an Attorney General of Ghana who shall be the Minister of State and the principal legal advisor to the government. The Attorney General shall discharge such other duties of legal nature as may be referred to or assigned to him by the President or imposed on him by this Constitution or any other law. 3. The Attorney General shall be responsible for all the initiation and conduct, of all prosecutions of criminal offenses. All offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law. 5. The Attorney General shall be responsible for institution and conduct of all civil cases on behalf of the state, and all civil proceedings against the state shall be instituted against the Attorney General as a defendant. 6, and final, the Attorney General shall have audience in all courts in Ghana. So if you have your Attorney General who is unable to respond to such serious allegations, he is unable to respond to these allegations well, but then he says that, first of all, he's been advised to proceed to court, but then he will not do so because he's been given a mandate by the president. He wants to concentrate. I found that weird. Look, in your daily practice, you always go to court. If somebody says you are a thief, you are corrupt, you have gone for 500,000 Ghana cedis to bribe appointment committee so that you can sail through vetting. And the person says that you are a stupid fool and is going to reset your mind. And you are telling Ghanaians that you are not going to go to court. You will not proceed to court. Why? Because you are focusing on your work. Meanwhile, court is where you live, is where you sleep, is your home. So, is it not scary? Is it not scandalous that Attorney General says that a member of his own majority caucus, an MP, not just anybody like me and you, an MP says that you are a thief, you are corrupt, you have gone for 500,000 Ghana cedis, and all you can say is that you can play in the mud. As for you, you can swim in the mud. So A plus should bring it on. And then you are rather inviting us to ask A plus what he knows about the NSS scandal. What is our business? Is that supposed to be our business? You have the prosecutorial powers. You are the man in charge. And you are telling us to go and ask A plus what he knows about the NSS scandal. Look, this is below the belt. And as I've just read to you, for an Attorney General to be saying that I can play in the mud, and we are being told that A plus just apologized. So what now? It is going to be an apology spree. People commit offense and they are told to apologize, and that be it. So now we are going to live in a nation of apology. Everything is apology. So A plus apologizes, and then Sammy also apologizes and then we leave it there. No, it's important for us to hold these appointees to account for their actions. Attorney General, you cannot say that you want to play in the mud. We do not want an Attorney General to dirty himself. No, that is not what we want. And again, we expect His Excellency the President not to sweep this under the carpet. These are serious allegations. And all we see is that Abla goes back to pull down the post and he's made to apologize, and that is it. Mr. President is being put to the test on his commitment to the very values he sought to espouse exactly a week ago when he outlawed the code of conduct. The entire world is waiting with bated breath on further actions by President Mahama, considering the actions of Mr. Sammi Gyamfi and the Attorney General, who says that I want to play in the mud, I want to dirty myself. We want to see some action from President Mahama. We call on the President to show leadership, to act swiftly, decisively, and not to give Mr. Gyamfi and the Attorney General a pat on their backs for this reckless conduct. It is crucial to underscore the necessity of adherence to governance practice in line with constitutional and legal provisions. And this is an issue I really want to raise with you, and follow me on this. That guide the conduct of public officers in Ghana. You recall that in 2017, former President Akufo-Addo, through the National Executive Committee of the New Patriotic Party, issued a directive mandating that all party officials who had been appointed to governmental positions by President Akufo-Addo must resign from their political party roles in adherence to best practices in governance and accountability. So if you recall, even our current General Secretary, he was the then Ashanti Regional Youth Organizer. When he was appointed CEO, he resigned. A whole lot of ministers, Tutuko Afisa-Jaba was a National Women Organizer. She also resigned. Mr. Mewu from Volta region resigned. Of blessed memory, Honorable Ashiti, Greater Accra Minister, also resigned. Honorable Ajay Sowa as Mayor also resigned. The names, a lot, they resigned. Today, what do we see? It is important to note that a similar practice does not appear to have followed under the current National Democratic Congress. Several individuals who are holding influential governmental positions continue to hold dual roles that may pose concern in terms of governance practice, legal stipulations, and ethical standards. Specifically, the following individuals remain in both political and public office, raising critical issues about potential conflict of interest and the need for compliance with relevant legal norms. The National Youth Organizer of the NDC, George Opare Ado, is a minister now. He's still the National Youth Organizer. Mr. Sammi Gyamfi is the National Communications Officer. He has not resigned. And he's still their communications officer. The Basintali is still Deputy Communications, and Abisu, who is with the Minerals Investment Fund, is also still there. Osman Ayarega is also at post. Meanwhile, he's at NCA. Ruth Sedo is with the NSS. He's still holding on to his post. Mustafa Bande is at the Office of the Presidency. He's still holding on to his post. Elikem Kotoko is now the Deputy CEO for Forestry Commission. Dr. Omane Buama He's the defense minister. He was in charge of the elections. He's not resigned. I recall that even when I was elected as national youth organizer, I resigned from deputy executive director of NSS. Also, all regional and constituency executives who have been appointed into key government positions are still approached. You go to Ashanti region, their regional secretary is the regional minister, he's still approached. You go to Eastern region, I think the women organizer also was their women organizer, and today he's still approached. The retention of these dual roles by political appointees under the NDC administration raises significant legal concerns regarding the Constitution of Ghana, particularly Article 94, which disqualifies a person from being appointed a member of parliament or a public officer if they hold dual offices that are inconsistent with the principles of public service. Furthermore, Section 2, this is more important, Section 2 of the Public Services Act prohibits public officers from engaging in business or holding any other positions that might undermine their impartiality and efficiency in their official capacities. The continued holding of political appointments alongside public office positions undermines the principle of neutrality in public service, and these individuals remain bound by their party loyalties, which would affect their objectivity and ability to serve the state effectively. In the light of all these considerations, it is imperative for the government to reassess the position of individuals holding dual appointments and ensure that the requisite legal framework are strictly adhered to. The principle of separation of powers between political and public roles is not just a matter of legal compliance, but is central to maintaining public trust, ensuring the integrity of state institutions, and upholding the principles of good governance. We urge His Excellency the President to take immediate steps to rectify the situation by ensuring that all political party holders who have been appointed to public office, especially those holding political positions, comply with the relevant provisions, and also, as we said, because of good governance principles, they must resign. The clear delineation of political roles and governmental functions will reinforce the credibility of the administration and strengthen public confidence in the democratic process. We thank you very much for coming, and we hope that we'll be engaging you we are waiting for the outcome of His Excellency the President. Now, Mame, I'm going to talk about a tree. Abusuafo bɛda mo ase. Ɛnɛ sɛ yɛfrɛ mo bae a ɛdi kan yɛbɛda mo nyinaa ase n'ano demonstration a mo nyinaa mo gyina mu ma yɛyɛ ma no yɛ kama no. Ɛkɔyie yɛbɛda mo ase. Ɛnkyɛ biara no yɛbɛkɔ so abɔdahuro afa nneɛma bi ne anamontu a yɛba abɛtu ho. Na ɛnɛ ade titiri nti a yɛahyia wɔ ha ɛfa amamuo ho. Ɛnkyɛe na yɛwura Mahama ɛde krataa bae a wato din ɛyɛ code of conduct. Code of conduct na sikyɛ nyinaa ne sɛ ɛyɛ krataa a wakukyiri sɛnea ɛbɛyɛ a ɛyɛ ɔmo a wapa ɔmo nso bɛyɛ adwuma ɛwɔ n'aban mu. Ɔmo de ɛbɛyɛ adwuma na ama amamuo no ayɛ fɛ. Ɛni na wɔtwe koraa ɛna yɛhu sɛ the National Communications Officer of the NDC ɛna ebiem acting CEO Gold Board. Wakɔ ayi ase a ayi ase no wayi ɛyɛ Broni sika dollars yi bi a ɔde ama maame agrada. Na ɔhwɛ sika no sɛ nene osi kan ne bebrebe na agrada ɛsɛ hwim ne akanya sa kan ho. Na nea ɛhu nea ɛnwanwa ne sɛ ɛyɛ National Communications Officer of the party ɔsɛ acting Gold Board CEO. Yɛwura Mahama. Nsɛm a ɛda nkɔfoɔ ano ɔmo kanya ne sɛ ɛnyɛ ade a wɔn nsa wobɛtumi de aka ɛyɛ aberante san sɛ ɔyɛ golden boy. Wontumi nyɛ ho hwee. Wontumi nyɛ biribiara na kasakasa kwa. Ɛbɛa sɛ ɔkɔ social media so asɛm a ɔmo ka. nanso no ade a wayɛ no yɛ ade a ɛkyerɛ ɛyɛ ahokyerɛ a Ghanafoɔ fam ɛne nneɛma boa akɔ so na wohwɛ obi a ɔno no hwɛ yɛ gold board so na wayi sika dosopuo dollars na ɔde akyɛ ano ɔhye etiatia Ghana mmara o code of conduct n'ankasa a wode baeɛ no ebu n'animtia sɛ ɔpani Mahama anyɛ ho biribi a yɛkyerɛ ne sɛ ɛyɛ o code of conduct na wode baeɛ no sɛ deɛ krataa kɛkɛ emu nyɛ du ɛbɛyɛ mframa wokasa kɛkɛ na menye nni sɛ saa na apɛ sɛ wɔma mu no esi kɔ no na ebi asi pɛn ɛyɛ aberanteɛ Sammi Gyamfi go yɛ ɛberɛ a maame sisi adapaa asɛm baeɛ a yɛsi akɔkɔ ho sika bi wɔ ne fie aberanteɛ a na ɛka sɛ maame yɛnyini fi hɔ yɛwura Akufo-Addo out of good governance amamuo a ɔpɛ sɛ mu da mfa nti no ɔma ɔbaa panin ɔgye n'adwuma firi ne nsɛm anaasɛ ɔma ne resign yɛ nea yɛreka ne sɛ naano bi sɛ yɛde saa abaa no bɔ ɔtakyi a yɛsɛ yɛnwe yɛmfa nyɛ dɛ yi yɛmfa bɔ baa wei ɛyɛ ne tietietie sɛ ɛsi dan na obi a yɛnya ntua ne ka wo na ɛnɛ yi ɔno watumi anya dollars dosopuo sɛ wohwɛ kwan so ɔfa so oyi dollar na wote mu sɛ bebree gu hɔ paa na wosa hwɛ ebiem kaa na ɔte mu a ɔde kɔɔyɛ naano a na yɛwura Mahama ɛkasa ɔka biribi sɛ na point is no they should eschew opulence and ostentation yɛkyerɛ nyaa ne sɛ akɛsesɛm sɛ yɛde sika kyerɛ ɔmpɛ sɛ na point is ne bɛyɛ saa ɛnɛ yi sɛ wohwɛ kaa na yɛwura Sammi Gyamfi kora dem 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spent $350,000 ɛna ɔtim na ɔde kɔɔ yie kɛkɛ sɛ wohwɛ yɛ Ghana yɛ mmerɛ mu wohwɛ the Foreign Exchange Act wohwɛ the Anti-Money Laundering Act a ne yɛka ne sɛ ɛkotia ebiem sɛ wohwɛ nneɛma akɛseɛ akɛseɛ a akatua fa a yɛde ma nea ɛyɛ ne sɛ ɛyɛ gold yi a yɛka ho asɛm nyinaa ne yɛde gold board abɛn ne dwumadie kɛseɛ baako pa a aban ate ahyɛ ne sɛ ɛba aba bɛso yɛ sidi nim ɛbɛma yɛ sidi na yɛde agyina na ɔpanin a ɔno no wɔ gold board na ɔrehwɛ sɛ yɛ sidi ni bɛgyina no ɔngye yɛ sidi ni ndi enti dollars na ɔyɛ dɛ ɔrekyɛ and this is serious lack of confidence in our city kyɛ sɛ wama yɛn yɛ sika no a yɛdie no emu gyidie deɛ wato no asawra no ɔbu n'anim tia ɔmfa nyɛ hwee yɛn yɛ sika a yɛdie a ɛno deɛ sibra bɛbɔ ho ban ne nkene yi ntimi nyina no woba a wode si n'anim onyam atwitwi fam ɛno ne adeɛ ɛna wo nso nyɛ sɛ sɛbe woyɛ obi akɛkɛ o sɛbe kɔ obi akɛkɛ a anuafoɔ nka yɛfrɛ nsɛnkyerɛfoɔ dwumadie ɛyɛ Ghana aban sɛ wohwɛ ɛyɛ akatua koraa no a mo se yɛmɛtua ne ka no a ano ɔhye ɛyɛ afemu biara no ɔbɛgye 1.5 million Ghana cedis titi sika no 15 billion ɛna ɔbɛgye woyɛ no firi mu a n'ano so koraa no yɛsɛ tumi tum ɔha mu nkyekyɛmu edunum wotumi tum after every 2 years biara no wotumi ɛsakyerɛ mu ntade a ɔbɛhyɛ me no mmienu deɛ a yɛhyɛ kamakama ntade a ɔbɛhyɛ no ɔno mo deɛ no aban a ɛfa ho ka 15% of the annual salary nti yɛ calculation na 150,000 Ghana cedis na de ba ne sɛ ɔmfa ntɔn ntaadeɛ na sɛbi w'ataadeɛ ɛhyɛ wo koraa tɔ ne sɛ ataadeɛ ɛhyɛ wo wotɔ ne sɛ ɛna yɛtwa 150,000 and for more quabranes, on phantom tard and say, any shoes and say. The security for your tracker, your better dog, the daddy mu your tracker. Sikasema ye ten nani na ketua ya kan nyano. Emu nka sika o ko hospital ho. Ni sika ni hospital ni bibia ne man num ne anya ne yire mu nyina no. Aban asai afa ho ka. Petrol 1,005 liters. Ya fa ho ka omo anko munum konta nko ma me how many gallons? 1,005 liters no ha me nko an ye se tua ka. Ansa na ya san ma no car. Mienu a ontwie asana eye okwa ahomedie mu so opeso okọ ba bi ko digi na ni kakra wa bre wa aduma bre na okwa eno so ba fa ho nya ka etwa business class ma no ni hotel ka ya fa ho ka ni bibia ya sama no 2,000 a day per diem dollars o asade aka ho asade ma no and $2,000 is 24,000 dollars and no gina day and no gina day eti aka ne sese aban ya hwe wo sei na wo say bu yen si di nanim tia dia ne yesra omampanin se na daroma sabe sania na no esi ya eye ye ma mrs nadapa eno kwa no osp ye hwehwemu dia basa ma me no kwa no hu dai hu so esisika no no ane dia ono oyobi a waye adwuma enfie aduanan ne kum sika kra de etese mpo ano anwea woye architect over 60 years of experience 60 years, an international consultant. Obiani Miso Skapa, one of the richest architects we have in Ghana. Nase ene Obiako Kotusika no kwano yesi Anti-Money Laundering Act no. Wafum brano ejino yenyinedi. Ene or resign here. It is ene sa na no bi. Ena sa se nisi ya. Ene it is only fair. Say employer Ramahama. Maninsi chenye mfangu mumra. Because nyati no kwa so mo kwa yentu ya omoka. Ene ne yomo nyesika ayesa dwumadi na ade baako a na se fem so dwumadi nyina ho ne se atopa de ye atopa ye pa obi fom a na opo acho a anwafo na mo de ache na eno nche se ofom mra na oso wa pa acho ne ma ko na no A+ na attorney general baba be ka che ye se ono de A+ ya ono ni be di efi mu agro na ateche mu agro de ne de tete no to no de obetinya tete ateche de aye no na one na si attorney general na ye person tete ateche de ye no eni afọ mo emi ni se mo be pese ya attorney general no onware wa ateche mu onware ofi mu on tete fi nye ne ho wo hwe constitution ma bi kan kan se wo hwe ni dwumadi ni kase pa ono na ye lawyer ni pani egina ho ma Ghana ban ono na ye lawyer ni pani kase pa egina ho ma Ghana na se lawyer ni pani kase ya ka to se wo kwa sika 500,000 ademudie e de baba be ma appointment committee parliament se ne be ya obebo through parliament and you see kono ko sign with chako court house de court na dia obeko atinte hu be ne tua wo tunti a huntimi hwe ntreja de nti na huntimi ko because bia wo de A+ ko ba wo so be kana se eti wo se ne ho ko na nso no wodi nkofo bi kokoto sa ade akwa edu a de bowi se wo ye konfo wo no keta asehye ne proye dware wo kwa kwaji sika de abrem na hye bedwefo no wo nso no wodi nkofo bi pese wo de nkokota wo nso na wo se wo charge omo for corruption but wo nso no ye de bibisi ato so yewura mahama se wa me anya sa hwehwemu ye wi an sisi a to ne dwena anamo a obi a dwemu ni se ya to ne dwena odware atechemu ya to ne dwena oye krofo ya to ne dwena akwaja demude ya to ne dwena ena ekono de bia bo ti ayekono sa no okọ sanse adwen a edi hu no enti o si etimi sign ti o si etimi sign ti mi hu bi da sa to na no obeka ya yewura go fredam wo ho ena NDC fokofa tape bi o mo akatekate no mo de sisi eni eno mo si yewura go fredam ene Japan edi nkomo eno komo friend criminal. And I'm saying, you see, and some of them kind of, yeah, maybe I say their own. Who your phone, sir? No, I shall want some of one was to say, Nipa, or Nipa, say. It will your phone, son. No, I shall want some. Because I'm someone I know more can I must go for damn it. Editing at some son, some must on me, will be a cocasano. And they are turning to my day, or no, yes, what you're from for. That's what you're. Yes, what Quaco did, them would get 500,000 Ghana cedis at the bread appointment committee in Parliament. What tell you? On funny pan court, non consign it, I'll sit there before they have your before. No concourse and that jail. Me wants to be a court now here. Oh, no, did you? Oh, no, that. Oh, is your body office who too now? No, do high court. Also, want to be penny pan court. Now, all concentrate on me one nipper moving. But cast a metia. The cast some shall say. A plus number train, a dear unimufa and necessary. On no number train. Attorney General won't to me near crowd. Ghana down to me cross on now, obedience on my obey. Yan a young concubus a plus. Now, where from this pension for a nay as a media trial? Now, the media for Bania can't summer any Attorney General, Mukasemini, or good movie. Or good movie. Attorney General and Casasa, only more to the dear opposition in Yadiasa. A 7 a definitely so. One can send it to Yura, Mahama. I should get the same you know a doubt. Wow, code of conduct, I would buy it. Any a monster, near Pibany. A beer might be back by yourself when you said. And they NDC, a buyer, all my appointment will be our mobile mine. Now, you will almost NDC national officers, be regional officers, in political constituency officers. And then your power more our bang. Now, not other than Kufado, HR72. Mobakaya 2017. Nana Danko Kufuado in consultation with the National Executive Committee of the party. At the end, she by say, Obibia, ya forward a dumum, our baimu. Now, say, Kuna party the Breno, Jaito. Obibia, Jaito. And no, Adia Buan say, and Manipanunya, a jimpo. Emma, ordinary is a juma or Yenusumo in ye. A Buama, a memopa, a daddy. It was a name. Me and my boss were current general secretary. No, you're Asante Regional Youth Organizer. Obey why see you no resign here. And the deputy Bashir no resign here. Regional ministers are who be brave by honorable Architect of blessed memory or resigning from Greater Accra region chairman. Amewu resign here. Honorable Fuma chairman resign here. All over. Obia resign here. Me, Ebra, you elected me as national youth organizer. And I'm your deputy executive director of NSS. One I'm resigning here. And then here come your quack and say, yet the NDC headquarters and I what I can. Ya pager near the Aquacosi Jubilee House. And it is dangerous for good governance. Etienne, offer national youth organizer or no minister. Money on resigning. The deputies in Bako NYA, Osman Ayarega, Ruth, or NSS, Omodaso, Basentali, or Daso YA. You will occupy position in pain. Or you are resigning as a regional youth organizer of Ashanti region. I don't know that's our post. You will Manebuama, or that's the director of elections. Me was I minister of defense. Offer regions, Nima, in fact, regional secretary, I know or northern region, on a war, on a war NLA. All over, Elikem Kotoko, Yaira Kuku, no your IT director, and then they'll call NIA, Eric, Omuni na no mukuta positions. What we are calling on the president to do is say, and they would code of conduct for appointees about say ammonia impartial, and it's a conflict of interest. Biaba. It's no omo wapa woman a year wapa omo. Shall resign sending another Danko Kufado year 2017. Emma, Omwa, our point to Munano, a resign. Momo so resigning, no more focusing on governance. If you ever say, Ramahama, we no bois, Emma Ghana, your queen. It's a necessary frame by ne attitude to your friend by. Namin Sham, Obesati and you.
Dr. Paul, yɛda mo nyinaa ase. Eti mo bɛtena ha ya na matwɛn. Ɔmo a invite me no nyinaa mo twɛn no ha ya. Thank you very much.
So going to close studio join us. You know, OT, what was me small for my I don't want to say what we should join us for joining us today. For next update from the NPP represent from the minority leadership. Thank you for joining us.